The plan was madness. Even the boldest cultivators would have chosen to flee to hide in some forgotten corner of the world and wait centuries for the storm to pass. No sane person would ever consider standing against a being like the Blood Ancestor. Yet Wang Lin was not searching for escape. He was preparing to do something far more dangerous. He was preparing to kill a god. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Li Yuan's eyes filled with admiration, and he could not help but feel a surge of shock at Wang Lin's audacious idea. After all, the disparity in their cultivation levels was simply too vast. If it were anyone else indeed, even Li Yuan himself, the first thought that would arise would be to flee, even if it meant fleeing to the ends of the world or hiding away in some remote corner for hundreds, perhaps even thousands of years. It would still be worthwhile, so long as they could escape that terrifyingly powerful cultivator. The thought of resistance would not even cross his mind, for the gap between them was as wide as heaven and earth. In Li Yuan's eyes, Wang Lin's plan bordered on madness, yet within that madness lay a spark of brilliance. If everything were planned with sufficient care, it might truly succeed. At that thought, Li Yuan's heart began to pound violently. The sheer thrill of it, the temptation of attempting to slay a cultivator at least at the Nirvana cleanser stage, set his blood surging through his veins. "Brother Shu, we are practically trying to kill a god." As Li Yuan spoke, he realized the truth of his own words. This was indeed akin to attempting to slay a deity. Though the Blood Ancestor might not rival a celestial general, before the celestial realm was destroyed, he would still have been regarded as a formidable powerhouse. Among lower-level cultivators, no one would even dare to oppose him. Wang Lin slowly licked his lips before speaking. "I will still require Brother Li's assistance in this matter. After everything is over, I will certainly reward Brother Li well." Li Yuan fell silent for a moment, pondering. The excitement from earlier had left his throat dry. Looking at Wang Lin, he finally said, "Brother Li needs no thanks. What you saved was not merely my life, but the lives of generations of the Li family. Isn't it only the matter of killing a god? How could I possibly refuse something so exhilarating?" Wang Lin's eyes turned cold as he said slowly, "That Blood Ancestor will not be easy to kill. We must plan every step with extreme care. Before we act, Brother Li may leave if he wishes." Li Yuan considered this for a moment before smiling faintly. "That will not be difficult. But Brother Shu, before anything else, we should search through this storage space thoroughly so that no treasures are left behind. I will also place several restrictions at key points to trigger its collapse." The two exchanged knowing smiles. Words were no longer necessary. Without wasting another moment, they moved forward. Spatial cracks did not appear only in the sky, many of them tore open across the ground as well. Yet with the caution both men exercised, they advanced steadily toward the valley ahead. The valley was surrounded by mountains thick with towering trees. As they passed one such mountain, Wang Lin suddenly halted. His gaze lingered upon it as he fell into thought. He placed his right hand upon the mountain and released his divine sense, spreading it outward before withdrawing it again. When Li Yuan had flown earlier, he had seen 2 mountains and 3 valleys. Now, as Wang Lin studied the mountain before him, he sensed an aura faintly resembling that of the celestial mountain stored within his bag. With a thought forming in his mind, Wang Lin withdrew his hand. Before long, the first valley appeared before them. The entrance to the valley was immense, several dozen feet wide. At first glance it seemed empty, yet a thin veil of mist lingered inside, shimmering faintly and giving off an illusory feeling. Standing at the entrance, Wang Lin and Li Yuan stopped to observe carefully. "There is only a simple restriction here. It won't be difficult to break," Li Yuan said calmly. His hands formed a seal and several restrictions appeared, glowing faintly as they drifted into the mist within the valley. A rustling sound echoed softly. The mist rapidly dispersed without leaving a trace. Li Yuan smiled and was just about to step forward. But at that very moment, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with light. He grabbed Li Yuan's arm and said sharply, "Brother Li, wait." Startled, Li Yuan turned to look at him. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. Behind him, the celestial guard suddenly rushed forward without hesitation. Yet the instant it entered the valley, the mist reappeared. The mist condensed into countless arrows that shot toward the celestial guard. A series of thunderous explosions echoed through the valley. Even with the celestial guard's incredibly powerful body, it was forced backward by the barrage. Only after it was pushed completely outside the valley did the mist slowly settle once again. Li Yuan's face flushed with embarrassment. He was not a reckless man, but he had been overly confident in his own understanding of restrictions. Letting out a wry smile, he said, "The owner of this storage space was truly insidious. This restriction was clearly designed to kill someone overly confident in their own skill. With restrictions, someone, like me." Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. With a single thought, the celestial guard rushed forward once more. This time its entire body radiated golden light. The moment it stepped into the valley, it threw out a powerful punch. The strike created a massive vortex that instantly stirred the countless mist arrows rushing toward it. Without hesitation, Wang Lin stepped into the valley. Li Yuan quickly followed. The moment he entered, Li Yuan immediately formed several restrictions and scattered them across the valley. Then he began to calculate, carefully observing the surroundings. From time to time, he would determine a location and place another restriction there. Wang Lin paid him no attention. After entering the valley, he waved his right hand. Thunder surged out from within his origin soul, gathering into a sphere of lightning in his palm. The sphere shot toward the vortex created by the celestial guard. With a thunderous boom, the lightning entered the vortex, instantly filling it with crackling energy. The vortex seemed to freeze in place as it began to draw in all the surrounding mist. "Brother Shu," Li Yuan called out, "I have identified the restriction eyes in the south and east corners. Once they collapse, the restriction within the valley will break." With that, his arms spread wide and restrictions appeared in each hand as he rushed toward the southeastern cliff. At the same time, Wang Lin sent a command through his thoughts. The celestial guard instantly charged southward toward the restriction eye Li Yuan had mentioned. Just before Li Yuan's restriction could land, the celestial guard's fist smashed into the cliff. Simultaneously, thunder condensed in Wang Lin's right hand and shot toward the eastern restriction eye Li Yuan had marked. The lightning struck precisely before Li Yuan's restriction arrived. Two thunderous explosions echoed at once. The restrictions Li Yuan had placed erupted simultaneously. A massive whirlwind surged through the valley, sweeping away all the mist. Moments later, the whirlwind dissipated. The valley returned to calm, revealing a sight that had previously been hidden. A short black sword was embedded in the ground. Surrounding it were 8 ferocious beast skulls. From the skulls drifted faint strands of mist, forming a circle around the sword. Li Yuan looked at the short sword and said slowly, "Presumably this is the treasure stored within the first valley. Brother Shu, which do you prefer, the short sword or the 8 beast skulls surrounding it?" Wang Lin glanced at the sword and immediately sensed that it was anything but ordinary. Yet Li Yuan had been of great help, and Wang Lin did not wish to claim the more valuable prize for himself. He laughed lightly. "This short sword is clearly no ordinary item, and breaking this restriction was largely Brother Li's achievement. I merely lent a hand. I will take the 8 skulls." With a sweep of his sleeve, the 8 skulls flew into his hands. As he examined them with his divine sense, Wang Lin was inwardly startled. Yet outwardly he remained perfectly calm as he stored them away. Li Yuan smiled and reached down to take the short sword. Looking at Wang Lin, he laughed. "My thanks, Brother Shu." After leaving the first valley, they soon arrived before the entrance to the second. This entrance was much narrower than the first. However, the closer they approached, the more frequently spatial cracks appeared, forcing them to proceed with extreme caution. When they were still 5 kilometers away, the path ahead suddenly vanished. The final stretch was riddled with spatial tears. Cracks appeared everywhere, cutting across the ground like invisible blades and completely blocking all possible routes forward. Li Yuan frowned. If these had been restrictions, he would have been able to break them. But these were not restrictions at all. After thinking for a while, he said, "Brother Shu, this may be somewhat troublesome. Teleportation is impossible inside this storage space." Wang Lin gazed silently toward the distant valley entrance. After a moment, he said slowly, "Brother Li, wait here for a moment. I have a way to enter." Taking a deep breath, Wang Lin sat down in the lotus position. His two fingers rapidly pointed to several locations across his body. Each time he touched a point, his face grew slightly redder. When he pointed for the 9th time, his entire face had turned a fiery crimson. Wang Lin slowly stood up and inhaled deeply. The redness vanished instantly. At that moment, he slapped his bag of holding, and the mountain and river screen appeared. The painting expanded instantly, stretching more than 10,000 feet. Wherever it spread, the spatial cracks vanished as though they had been patched. The instant the mountain and river screen appeared, the celestial guard seized Wang Lin and hurled him forward with ruthless force. The throw contained nearly the full strength of the celestial guard. In an instant, Wang Lin shot forward more than 2.5 kilometers. Yet the cracks were simply too numerous. The moment the mountain and river screen appeared, countless tears ripped across its surface. The openings gaped like enormous mouths, eager to devour Wang Lin whole. Borrowing the momentum from the celestial guard's throw, Wang Lin surged forward. Just before that force was exhausted, a blood-red glow erupted from his body. The spell he had sealed within himself exploded outward. His speed increased dramatically. His body flashed crimson once, then again, and again. In the blink of an eye, it flashed 9 times. His speed became almost indistinguishable from teleportation. This bloodlight escape spell was the fastest escape technique Wang Lin had learned from the old man in the demon Spirit Land. Yet it could only be used when one's cultivation had reached the peak of the late ascendant stage. Otherwise, the body would simply explode. In a single breath's time, Wang Lin appeared at the entrance of the second valley. His face was pale and he nearly collapsed. With a wave of his hand, the mountain and river screen shrank and returned to his grasp. Turning back, he saw Li Yuan standing 5 kilometers away. Wang Lin gazed toward the entrance of the second valley. From where he stood, it appeared utterly empty. He took several careful steps forward, his eyes sweeping across the surroundings with meticulous caution. Then his right hand formed a seal and a restriction shot forth. Mid-air, the restriction suddenly split into 14 separate strands and streaked toward the valley. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed as he watched them enter the valley, only to vanish silently, as if devoured by an unseen mouth. Not the slightest ripple appeared. His eyes narrowed. After a brief moment of hesitation, a resolute light filled them. His hands began forming restrictions again, this time far more complex. He spent longer shaping them, forming dozens in succession. When they were finally released, each one split into 14 once more. The restrictions arranged themselves into the shape of blooming plum blossoms and drifted toward the valley entrance. Wang Lin followed immediately behind them. At the exact moment, the restrictions crossed into the valley. The vertical slit between Wang Lin's brows suddenly opened his third eye. A crimson glow flashed. Through the red light, Wang Lin saw something that had been invisible before: a faint, transparent light screen sealing the entrance. The instant the plum blossom restrictions touched the screen, a devilish shadow suddenly emerged. It opened its maw and swallowed them in a single gulp. With the help of his third eye, Wang Lin could clearly see the light screen and the devil shadow itself, a bizarre creature formed entirely from nearly transparent motes of light. His eyes lit up. Without hesitation, Wang Lin retreated several steps. At the same time, with a thought, the plum blossom restrictions withdrew along with him. The devil shadow hesitated briefly, then pursued them. At that moment, the light screen sealing the entrance grew thin as the devil shadow extended outward. A sharp sting pierced between Wang Lin's brows. His third eye had reached its limit. Without the slightest hesitation, Wang Lin surged forward. His speed was astonishing. In a single instant, he slipped past the devil shadow and arrived directly before the thinning light screen. The moment his hand touched it, Wang Lin raised a finger. Ling Tianhao's sword energy surged into that finger, yet he did not release it. Instead, he compressed the energy within and pressed his finger directly onto the light screen. The screen trembled violently. Then it spread apart. A gap appeared. Without pausing for even a breath, Wang Lin shot straight through it. Everything had happened within a fleeting instant. Behind him, the invisible devil shadow jerked backward and released a silent roar. The countless motes of light composing its body gathered together before charging furiously toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's scalp tingled. A bone-chilling wind, like a breath from the depths of hell, swept toward him. His third eye had already closed automatically. He could no longer maintain it. Now that he had entered the valley, the scene before him was entirely different from what he had seen outside. The ground of the valley was a dull brown. Countless skeletons carpeted the earth. They lay everywhere, tens of thousands of them, scattered across the valley like a field of death. Strange insects burrowed through many of the skeletons. It seemed as though they were gnawing on the bones themselves, producing a constant chorus of faint crunching sounds. At the center of the valley stood 8 short swords, stabbed firmly into the ground. Their appearance and aura were identical to the sword obtained earlier. It was obvious they were part of the same set. Between the 8 swords rested a massive beast skull. 4 savage bone spurs jutted outward from it, radiating a sinister and oppressive aura. Wang Lin did not hesitate. He dashed forward and reached for the beast skull. But the moment he moved, the 8 short swords released brilliant streaks of sword energy that shot directly toward him. Before him surged the sword energy. Behind him came the pursuing devil shadow. Yet even at such a critical moment, Wang Lin did not panic. His expression remained calm. As the sword energy closed in, Wang Lin lifted his finger and pointed forward. Stop! The stop spell erupted. This spell did not merely affect living beings. The short swords were no ordinary objects, but neither was the stop spell. Although Wang Lin's current cultivation prevented him from halting them for long, he could still freeze them for a single fleeting moment. And that moment was enough. The instant the swords halted, Wang Lin lunged forward and grabbed the beast skull. Behind him, the invisible devil shadow closed in rapidly. Though he could not see it now, he could feel the icy aura pressing against his back. He had been waiting for this exact moment. Since he could not maintain his third eye and his divine sense could not locate the creature, the moment it tried to devour him would be the only opportunity to strike. Wang Lin did not turn around. Instead, the shadow of a whip flashed between his brows. The Karma whip appeared. It lashed through the air. A muffled groan echoed from the void. Instantly, the cold aura surrounding Wang Lin shattered and scattered. Wang Lin did not stop. His movements flowed like water. Forming a seal with his hand, he pressed it onto the beast skull, lifted it, and immediately stored it inside his bag. All of this happened within the blink of an eye. At that moment, the 8 short swords broke free of the stop spell and whistled toward him once more. The valley was not large, and he could not fly high. Within such a confined space, Wang Lin was forced into a somewhat miserable dance of evasions as the swords pursued him relentlessly. The invisible devil shadow was also cunning. It concealed its cold aura, only revealing itself at the precise instant it attempted to devour him. More than once, Wang Lin narrowly escaped being swallowed whole. Worse still, the creature had sealed off the exit. Wang Lin's eyes turned icy. The short swords scattered behind him, attacking from 8 different directions. Their sword energy was infused with celestial spiritual energy. Interweaving together, they formed a killing sword formation. If that had been the only threat, Wang Lin would eventually have found a way to escape. But the moment he took the beast, skull-green mist began seeping out from the countless skeletons covering the ground. The mist condensed into eerie shadows that rushed toward him. At the same time, the insects gnawing on the bones seemed to be stimulated by something. They swarmed toward Wang Lin in a frenzy. Wang Lin's scalp tingled with dread. At this moment, it seemed as though the entire valley had become a sealed prison. But then a fierce light flashed in his eyes. Nothing here was naturally formed. It was all brought here from outside. That means this mountain has no true foundation. He dodged the short sword's green mist and swarming insects as he rushed toward the cliffside, letting out a thunderous roar. Wang Lin gathered every trace of celestial spiritual energy and thunder within his body into his right hand. Then he struck the mountain. An earth-shattering explosion erupted. Massive chunks of rock collapsed from the mountain, kicking up endless clouds of dust. Waves of celestial spiritual energy rippled outward. 5 kilometers away, Li Yuan froze in shock. He had no idea what was happening inside the valley. Yet he could clearly feel the ground trembling beneath his feet as fragments of the mountain began collapsing. The celestial guard beside him was linked to Wang Lin's will. Without hesitation, it stepped forward and punched the mountain. Another thunderous rumble echoed. Li Yin inhaled sharply. He vaguely understood Wang Lin's plan, and his heart began pounding wildly. A bitter smile appeared on his face. Fellow cultivator Shu's ideas are sometimes truly shocking. With Wang Lin's strength alone, he might shake the mountain but not break it. The celestial guard was different. Its body possessed terrifying physical power. After its punch, the trembling of the mountain intensified dramatically. Inside the valley, Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he seized the mountain and pulled upward with all his might. On the other side, the celestial guard endured immense pressure. It plunged its hands deep into the mountain and lifted it 10 feet into the air. A deafening roar echoed throughout the valley. Even the entire storage space began trembling. The celestial guard lifted the mountain higher and stepped beneath it. Its body shone with a brilliant golden glow as it bore the mountain upon its back. The violent vibrations rippled through the valley. The 8 short swords paused. The green mist ignored Wang Lin entirely and surged toward the lifted mountain. Even the insects followed. Popping sounds echoed from the celestial guard's body. Like a berserk beast, it growled and pushed the mountain dozens of feet higher. Any spatial cracks that appeared were crushed beneath the sheer impact of the rising mass. Once it reached sufficient height, the celestial guard hurled the mountain downward. The earth shook violently. The storage space itself seemed on the verge of collapse as countless new cracks appeared. The mountain crashed down upon the ground where the spatial cracks had been crushing them completely. Wang Lin seized the opportunity and dashed out of the valley. The invisible devil shadow vanished without a trace. No one knew where it had gone. Breathing heavily, Wang Lin stopped outside the valley. Looking ahead, he saw that even the third valley had been affected. Countless flashes of restriction light flickered there. Many restrictions had clearly collapsed due to the falling mountain. I fear the celestial who created this storage space never imagined someone would shake the entire mountain to break the restrictions, Wang Lin muttered. After briefly adjusting his breathing, he rushed toward the third valley. His goal was the ancient god leather armor. If it had not appeared in the first 2 valleys, it was most likely hidden in the third. Behind him, Li Yuan inhaled deeply as the shock in his eyes slowly faded. With a wry smile, he followed. As for the celestial guard, it had expended enormous energy. Its body faded into a phantom and merged back into Wang Lin's shadow to recover. The 2 men raced toward the third valley. Before long, they arrived. The place had been heavily damaged. The originally narrow entrance had been torn open, and restriction lights flickered wildly throughout the valley. With a single glance, Wang Lin saw a temple standing within. The temple was small, but severely damaged. The door had even vanished. Inside lay 2 skeletons. One of them wore the ancient god leather armor. The other skeleton had nothing on it. However, a golden glow radiated from its right hand, which had pierced directly through the skull of the skeleton wearing the armor. The skull was filled with cracks. It was clear that the crushing grip had shattered it completely. Even without witnessing the battle, the ferocity of the fight could easily be imagined. Wang Lin raised his hand. The ancient god leather armor flew off the skeleton and landed in his grasp. The instant he touched it, a powerful wave of bloody sorrow surged through him. Examining it closely, the armor felt rough and ancient, exuding a primeval aura. Even now, traces of an overwhelming presence lingered within it, as though the armor itself was silently proclaiming the terrifying power of its former owner. Li Yuan stepped forward and stopped beside the other skeleton, his gaze fixed on the golden fingers. Taking a deep breath, He crouched down and snapped the fingers off one by one. When he raised his head and glanced deeper into the temple, his pupils suddenly shrank. "Brother Shu, look." Wang Lin stepped forward and peered inside. Even with his formidable composure, he could not help but inhale sharply. After sweeping the area with his divine sense, to ensure there was no danger, he stepped inside. Li Yuan followed beside him. The temple had 2 levels. The first floor held no altar or statue, it was completely empty. However, 9 murals hung upon the surrounding walls. As Li Yuan studied them one by one, a strange light appeared in his eyes. What kind of spell is this?" he murmured. "How can there be such a massive person? Perhaps these scenes are merely legends painted from imagination." The murals depicted a colossal giant. Upon his forehead were 8 stars. Countless celestials surrounded him, wielding treasures and attacking him frantically. Compared to the giant, the celestials looked like tiny insects. The giant's eyes held a cold indifference. Yet the painting was so detailed that even the exhaustion hidden within that cold gaze could be felt clearly. All 9 murals depicted scenes like this. 8-star, ancient god, Wang Lin murmured softly. He lifted his gaze toward the 2nd floor, sighed faintly, and walked upstairs, leaving Li Yuan still muttering in amazement. After all, very few people knew of the ancient gods. The 2nd floor was simple. There was only a table covered with yellow parchment and several brushes lying beside it. It was easy to imagine that the master of this place had been fond of painting. Nearby stood a censer, though nothing remained inside but dust. Wang Lin approached the table. A sheet of paper lay beneath a paperweight that emitted faint waves of celestial spiritual energy. Clearly no ordinary object. But Wang Lin did not look at the paperweight. He looked at the paper itself. It read, "The 16th year of the 27th era of the Celestial Realm. The first war between the Ancient Order and the Celestial Realm ended in victory. My magic treasure was shattered and must be refined here. However, due to my contributions, I was rewarded with a piece of its skin and forged a suit of leather armor. The 19th year of the 27th era of the Celestial Realm. A shocking change occurred. The Celestial Emperor went mad and died pointing toward the sky. I personally witnessed everything that scene that should never have existed when the Celestial Emperor died. Since becoming a Celestial, I have never known fear, even when battling an ancient god. Yet at that moment, I was terrified. I saw something that should never have been seen. As the Celestials fought, I fled. Yet a pair of eyes followed me. I must paint what I saw." The handwriting became increasingly chaotic toward the end. It was easy to imagine the trembling hand of the writer. The final line read, "I painted it. But what is this? What did I paint?" The note ended abruptly. Wang Lin's expression turned solemn. After pondering for a long moment, he slowly sat before the table and picked up one of the brushes. He wanted to feel, to experience for himself, what that celestial had seen when he painted it. Wang Lin held the brush in his hand and slowly closed his eyes. For a long while he remained motionless. Then all of a sudden his eyes opened. His hand began to move across the paper, copying the words that had been written there before. As the brush glided over the parchment, Wang Lin gradually grasped a faint trace of the celestial's emotions. With every stroke, his state of mind subtly changed. A restless unease crept into his thoughts. It was a strange feeling, hesitation intertwined with confusion, as though the writer had been trapped between disbelief and dread. That lingering aura still permeated the room even now, countless years later. At last, Wang Lin's right hand abruptly stopped in mid-air. The brush hovered above the paper. He slowly raised his head and gazed out through the 2nd-floor window. This celestial must have finished the painting. Yet instead of clarity, he became even more confused. Wang Lin murmured quietly, "After leaving behind these words, something must have happened. Someone must have arrived." He set the brush down and looked outside. From the scattered clues, he had already pieced together part of what had transpired. After glancing once more at the parchment, Wang Lin waved his right hand. The paper burst into flames. The fire consumed it quickly until nothing remained but ash. Only then did Wang Lin pick up the paperweight and store it away. When he descended from the second floor, he saw Li Yuan carefully removing the murals from the walls and placing them into his storage bag. Wang Lin hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Brother Li, you must be extremely cautious about where you store those paintings. They must never be seen by outsiders. Otherwise, it will bring about a great catastrophe." Li Yuan paused. A flicker of realization crossed his face. He nodded solemnly. After a moment, Li Yuan asked, "There should still be other magical treasures and jade slips hidden somewhere in this storage space. Does Brother Shu not wish to search further?" Wang Lin shook his head. "Brother Li may continue searching if he wishes." After reading the note, Wang Lin's mind was filled with thoughts about the mysteries behind the collapse of the celestial realm. Moreover, after what he had experienced in the Second Valley, Wang Lin felt that even if treasures remained, there would be very few. After all, the most important treasure, the beast bone, was already in his possession. It was clearly the damaged treasure mentioned in the note, the one that had been undergoing refinement. "Very well," Li Yuan said. "While I set up the collapse restrictions, I can search around as well. I must also locate an exit from this place. If none exists, it will take some time to create one." He clasped his hands toward Wang Lin, glanced briefly toward the second floor, but did not go upstairs. Instead, he turned and walked out of the temple. Wang Lin remained outside. He sat down, cross-legged, and took out the 9 beast bones. One by one, he examined them carefully. Time passed like flowing water. In the blink of an eye, 1 month had gone by. During that month, Li Yuan did not discover many additional treasures. After searching for some time, he eventually gave up. However, one notable gain was the set of 8 short swords that had attacked Wang Lin earlier. Using some mysterious method, Li Yuan managed to subdue and control them. Wang Lin was quite astonished by this, but when he considered Li Yuan's mastery of restrictions, the feat suddenly seemed far less surprising. Over the course of the month, Li Yuan meticulously placed restrictions at every collapse point he had calculated throughout the storage space. In fact, Li Yuan appeared even more enthusiastic about plotting against the blood ancestor than Wang Lin himself. Every time he imagined how his carefully arranged restrictions might one day assist in killing a god, his breathing would grow uneven with excitement. Yet despite his excitement, Li Yuan remained a cautious man. He possessed one glaring weakness: his blind confidence in the Li family's restriction techniques. At the same time, he had also considered the worst-case outcome. What if the blood ancestor did not die? After much deliberation, he made a decision. He would assist Wang Lin in secret, but he would not personally participate in the confrontation. Once the preparations were complete, he intended to part ways with Wang Lin. After all, the matter was simply too enormous, even for someone indebted to Wang Lin. In truth, offering secret assistance was already the limit of what he could do. Even helping this much had not been an easy decision. On this particular day, Li Yuan returned to the temple. His expression was serious. He looked at Wang Lin with a complicated gaze before letting out a heavy sigh. With a wave of his hand, a crystal restriction sphere floated out and hovered before Wang Lin. Brother Zhu, Li Yuan said slowly, "I have established 1,465 collapse points using the annihilation restriction. All you need to do is activate this restriction sphere with celestial spiritual energy, and the entire storage space will collapse." Wang Lin took the sphere and examined it carefully with his divine sense. After confirming there were no problems, he clasped his hands respectfully. "My thanks." Li Yuan's expression darkened slightly. After a moment of hesitation, he said, "Brother Shu, in truth, if you do not wish to be found by the blood ancestor, I do have a method. All you would need to do is hide within a cave and never leave, until the blood ancestor's hatred fades with time." Wang Lin smiled calmly. "I will remember Brother Li's kindness. If I truly have no way to contend with the blood ancestor, I may indeed have to trouble Brother Li." Li Yuan fell silent. After a long pause, he took out a jade slip. Handing it to Wang Lin, he said, "Brother Shu, this contains records of my Li family's annihilation restriction. Without returning to the ancestral temple, I cannot give you a piece of the restriction heart itself. However, studying this may still help you. There are even several techniques for concealing your aura. Wang Lin accepted it silently and nodded. Li Yan sighed softly. Both of his hands formed a seal, and a transfer array appeared before him. The array flickered unsteadily, as though it might collapse at any moment. Brother Shu, this transfer array can only be activated 3 times. You must be careful. He looked at Wang Lin once more before stepping into the array. Without turning back, he said quietly, "If I did not have responsibilities binding me, I would certainly stay, just to witness how my Li family's restrictions might plot against a Nirvana cleanser. Cultivator. Brother Shu, take care." His voice faded as the transfer array flashed. Li Yuan's figure disappeared. Wang Lin lifted his head. A cold light appeared in his eyes. "Blood ancestor, Xianxia," he muttered. "Even if both of you possess blood soul pills, I will gamble this once to see whether you can truly revive beneath the power of a collapsing space that destroys everything." On Wang Lin's person was a bag of holding. It belonged to Yao Xixue. However, he could not open it. All he could do was seal it with restrictions so that its aura would not spread too far. Aside from this bag, Wang Lin had once possessed a genuine blood soul pill, but he had used it in his battle against the scattered devil. He knew there was at least one more pill inside the bag, but since he could not open it, it was beyond his reach. It is impossible for anyone to possess many such heaven-defying pills. Wang Lin sneered softly. Even the blood ancestor must have consumed most of them over the years. At best, he might have 1 or 2 left. With a cold smile, Wang Lin took out the restriction sphere that imprisoned Yao Xixue. He no longer had any interest in questioning her. With a casual toss, the sphere shot outward and buried itself deep within a distant mountain. After completing all of this, Wang Lin stepped forward into the transfer array. A flash of light appeared. His figure vanished. Only his cold whisper lingered behind. "Blood ancestor, since you refuse to let me go, then I will do as Li Yuan said. I will try to kill a god."